questions to ask, RHEA. I campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Yes, guys, welcome back to TACT-EAGLE, the show we talk about all the tactics for our upcoming games against Newcastle. International break has killed me. I'm getting withdrawal symptoms, and I'm happy that football's back. Dan, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Same. I don't mind internationals too much, but yeah, no, I think the Premier League always trumps it at the end of the day. Having said that, though, from a Crystal Palace perspective, it gave a little bit more time for some of our players to maybe come back, maybe.
And that is an interesting part of what we're going to talk about today, because I've had a quick look, and I know nothing's been confirmed yet, but I've had a look on a few of the injury lists, and a few of them say that quite a few of our players are back for this game.
Oh, really? Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because I only go by the premierinjuries.com list, so that's all I go with.
That's what I'm looking at right now, and the return dates of some of our players is the 21st.
Very interesting.
So, I guess without anything else, let's get straight into predicted 11. So, before we even start talking about the 11s, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a bit of the Screen Arena.
Screen Arena?
Yeah, I just made that one up on the spot now. Here is Newcastle's injuries. So, Harvey Barnes is out until the 6th for the first, so he's out for a good long while. Joe Willock, back for this game. Sven Botman, back for this game. Joe Linton back for this game, Anthony Gordon back for this game, and Isak back for this game. So potentially they could only have one player injured, which it really means they've got a fully fit squad now. So when I was going, so I'm going through these return dates and I'm looking at the percentage. If it's 50% or above, then I'll say yes. But if it's less than 50%, I'm going to say no. But that is really only Joe Willock and Harvey Barnes, which are the two that aren't going to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when picking their team out, it's not the hardest team to pick because they've got some really good players. They're just stacked all over the pitch. Is it Saudi money? Probably. But to be fair to them, they haven't absolutely blown the budget and just bought everyone in sight, have they? They sort of spent it pretty smart. So far.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And to be fair to them, besides the Chris Wood signing, which I'm sure many Newcastle fans would agree was a bit odd, to be honest, I actually think most of their signings have been pretty good. Like Kieran Trippier, great buy. Wasn't he on I can't remember if he might have been on a free. I can't remember.
I think he was 6 million from Atletico.
That's Nick Pope as well. Great signing. Sven Botman, again, another great signing. Yeah.
Definitely. Then we go on to Palace's injuries, where the list is a whole lot longer. We got Eze out till the 11th of the 11th. Ferguson is never going to play football, let's be real. So
he got injured again.
Would it be Nathan Ferguson if he didn't get injured again?
Or did he... Wait, did he cut... Because I thought he came back.
He did. He played 45 minutes for the under-23s and got injured again.
Gee, I didn't know
that. Elise out to the 27th, but that is only a 25%. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see him until December. Jefferson Lerma potentially back. Ahamada potentially back. França potentially back. Ward potentially back. Decore potentially back. Schlupp potentially back. And Riedewald potentially back. with Henderson as he's never going to play for Crystal Palace.
Yeah. It's interesting to see because obviously, like, the Crystal Palace Twitter have been shelling out loads of França propaganda in the anticipation that he's probably going to be in the squad on Saturday, but he's only got 50% on there, so that's interesting to know how they gauge things. Because to be fair, like, what does 25%, 75%, 50%? What does that actually mean? Like, I don't know what that really means.
I think it's a probability of like what's happening, like the severity of the injury, like is it the right time frame? That's sort of the formula I'm guessing they're going by. But after what Roy said about to the media team when they released that França content, he weren't happy about it, was he? So it wouldn't. No, he actually threw a bit of a fit about it, like had a go at some people because of it, wanted to keep França a bit more under wraps than what they've actually done.
That's interesting. I didn't know that either.
So potentially, hearing that, maybe he's actually a lot more ready than we actually think, and maybe he's sort of using him as, I guess, like a little secret gem in there. Like maybe Newcastle wouldn't be expecting him.
Perhaps.
But you never know. We can only speculate. But with some of those people that are coming back, I feel like I may have been a bit cheeky with putting a few in there, but I don't care because I'm really grabbing at straws, as pretty much every Palace fan is at the moment.
Yeah, especially for this game.
So here's what I've done. I've said if we're gonna have, so I said to myself, if we could have 2 players back out of those ones that are listed, I've gone for Decore and Lerma because they are going to be the most important players in this game. They were probably the most. I think Decore was probably our most important player alongside the centre backs in both of our 0-0 draws against them last season. So if we could have him back with Lerma next to him, I feel like that would be the best case scenario for us. So I've gone with Johnstone, Mitchell, Gay, Anderson, Ward, with Schlupp, Lerma, Edouard, Decore, and Ayew in midfield, with JP up front. I've sort of changed our formation a little bit around. It's a bit more of a 4-5-1 because I know we're going to be on the back foot for most of this game. And I think that if we're going to play wide players, we want ones that can defend. Obviously, Edouard's probably a lot better off the left than Schlupp is, but I'm going off the fact that Schlupp was bought as a left back. So if there's going to be some sort of overlapping, he could hopefully do some defending there. And I think that this 4-5-1 actually works pretty well for us a few seasons ago under Roy when we actually went to away games. Because if I remember correctly, this was the formation that Roy played against the big teams, and we actually had a pretty successful win rate against the teams that like to hold possession and play the ball around. I think that this was one of his successful formulas back in the day. So I was thinking maybe with better players, that formula could be successful yet again. And especially with how good our defence is with Anderson and Gay, then, why not?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah, to be honest, the only differences I went for was just based on who I thought might be around. If we were at full-ish strength, that would be the one I went for. I mean, the only change I did was having Klein for Wards, just because I weren't sure if Ward was going to be back. Hughes for Lerma, again, for the same reason. And I put Ayew on the left and then Raksaki on the right. Again, more because I weren't sure if Schlupp was going to be around. Not that I really want Schlupp to be on the left, but like you say, that kind of defensive aspect, I'm not too sure if I really fancy that Nathaniel Klein Raksaki right hand side. I'm not going to lie.
It sounds a bit terrifying, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
especially with how Newcastle attack, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's go on to their lineup that I've got. So they sort of play how we played in our first season under Vieira.
Yeah,
with a 6 and 2 8s. But both of their 8s basically turn into 10s the second that they've got the ball. So I've gone with Pope in goal, with Burns, Shaw, Lascelles, and Trippier as the back line. Bruno Guimarães. I'm not Brazilian.
Guimarães.
There you go. Bruno G.
Bruno.
in a 6 with Elliot Anderson and Longstaff in the in the midfield.
You should have put a star in his name. Bleep it out.
With with Isak, Anthony Gordon, and Almiron up front. I had to put Almiron in here because he always scores a banger against us.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he started, as far as I know, he started pretty much all their games. I mean, yeah, I had exactly the same lineup as what you got.
Cool. Let's go back in here. Into the comments really quickly. Chairman says, "Big up, guys."
Big up, Chairman.
Big says, up, "Hey guys, what has JC done with Nicky?" If I speak, I don't know why, but the Premier League review show just goes left every Tuesday now. So if you want to have some good laughs, then go in there. If all goes well, looking good on our injuries. Hopefully players are coming back soon. Newcastle have not done a crazy buying spree, just like Chelsea.
True.
My interpretation of Roy's comments, I think he doesn't want fan pressure to play França before he's ready. That's also true as well.
I can definitely see that.
I think one thing I saw was I can't remember how it went, but I think it was something like Ratsaki is a year older than Elise, and Elise is 2 years older than França. That shows how young França is.
Jesus. Wait, you say Raksaki's older than Elise?
I think he is.
Damn. That's not a slight to Raksaki, by the way. That's like a wow.
A big up to Elise.
Jesus.
I think it's either that or it's the other way around. Or Elise is a year older than Rat. It's something like that, but I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. And finally, Mitch is saying, after buying into Max Meyer hype, I now refuse to get excited about any foreign players at all until I see them play in the Prem. This is so true. Would they advertise him as the German Messi or something like that, right?
Yeah.
We saw how that went.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I never re-rate. I mean, I didn't really know Max Meyer before he went to Palace. I'm not gonna lie, but every time at Palace, I just thought he was very average. I'm not gonna lie. Like every chance he got, I thought he was very average.
Well, I went to Doncaster away to see one of his only goals he scored, and he was still dreadful against Doncaster. So
I think they were in League One at the time, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the fateful game where Batshuayi tried to cross the ball and tumbling over the advertising board, if you remember that.
Classic.
All right, let us go and do some. I'll take the lead on this one. I'll talk about how we can defend against Newcastle because I feel like there's more to talk about how we can nullify them rather than getting at them.
Go for it.
All right. Let me find which one it is now.
Damn.
This one. Okay. I was rewatching through some of our older TACT-EAGLEs and seeing his explaining all those lines and stuff. It was just I was confusing myself while watching it, so I was thinking, there's no way that you guys are going to understand what the hell I'm talking about when I'm going through it. So here's sort of how Newcastle play when they're with the ball and they attack. So if you could imagine a hybrid of playing style, which is sort of a Man City mixed with Aston Villa, and I say that in the sense of when they're passing around the back line, like this, recycling the ball. It's very Man City, very slow, very calculated, very safe, let's say. But the part which is similar to Villa is that if the ball goes into Bruno, let's say, and he's actually got some free space, he'll turn and instantly drive forwards, and then there'll be some link-up play, bang, 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 and then there'll be a shot on goal in a very, very, very short space of time. So that's sort of the playing style that we're going for. Eddie Howe, obviously, when he got sacked from Bournemouth, did he get sacked or did he leave?
Got sacked.
He had a whole year out of the game, and I feel like when he had that year out, he probably took some time and thought about some fresh ideas, because he does play kind of similar to how he used to play at Bournemouth, but granted he's got better players now. But his playing style has changed ever so slightly to sort of suit the players that he's got, which is, to me, is just one of the telltale factors of he's just a good coach in general. But he's got multiple principles where, for example, I've set up a scenario here where if the ball is over on this side, the fullback will come up, the central midfielder of that side of the pitch will come over, and then they will make a nice little triangle here. So they like making triangles with the winger, the midfielder, and the fullback. This triangle will also carry on because the fullback will like to do an inverted run. Normally, with other teams, they like to do an overlapping, which means they'll go around the outside like this. However, Newcastle, they like to do inverted runs, which means that the fullback will run in between the defenders and run through, which will create space. And you're going to hear this a lot from myself and Dan probably, but you're going to hear the word half space a lot in this TACT-EAGLE today. I don't know if you're going to mention that as well, mate.
Maybe.
They do love their half spaces. As a quick reminder to people that don't fully understand a half space is basically this sort of area in between centre backs and full backs, midfielders and defenders. This sort of free space that no one's really occupying that can be utilised to make runs, take people's mind off you, for example. So that's one thing. But when doing this, it sort of plays into another one of their playing styles as well. So because they've got all these players over here, Bruno might even come over a bit as well, because he does like to venture out of his sixth position quite often. They do like to have a playing style, which is, I believe it's called overload and isolate. Is that right?
Maybe.
So basically, they'll overload this area. So there's a abundance of players here. So what you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players in this tiny little space of the pitch. But because this will happen, everyone, as they would do, shifts over. But they will leave a player out here. They'll leave a winger out here. So, for example, if the ball's here and it's getting pressed, if the ball reaches Bruno, he knows that pass is always on because Almiron's always hugging the touchline, which means he's isolated while everyone over here is overloading this space. So he's got lots of space here to pick up the ball. And then as everyone's shifting back over again, he's then got some time on the ball to look up and make a good decision. It's interesting because he never done this at Bournemouth at all. So at Bournemouth, everyone would be tucked in like this. Everyone would be in the area. No one would be side. Another thing that is used here is it'll be the same situation. However, Almiron could be tucked in, and then Trippier would be the one holding the touchline out here. So they've got this is sort of a more attacking way of them doing this playing style, but it's in theory it's exactly the same thing all over again. one thing that I have to say with them is they are pretty wasteful of their chances. They'll get a lot of chances. I believe they are the third highest crossing team in the league. Out of crosses per 90, I believe. So they'll pick up the ball here and they'll whip it straight in the box. I think Trippier got an assist for doing the exact same thing as this first time cross, and Isak just tapped it in the net against West Ham 2 weeks ago, I think. But they are very wasteful of their chances. Isak misses a lot. His goal conversion rate isn't the best. He's got a hell of a lot of XG, but he doesn't have the goals to stick up to it, basically. He has a lot of good chances, but he does like to hit them wide. And that goes for a lot of the players on this Newcastle team. Almiron goes for worldies all the time, which is one thing he's going to score against us. It's a given. Gordon, he shoots a lot, but not a lot on target. Even people like Longstaff, he shoots a lot, but he's in a good position, but he just doesn't convert. So if they had other players on the pitch that are more lethal finishers, then, you know, potentially something else, like they could be scoring more goals. But I'm not saying at all that they don't score goals, because they score a lot of goals.
Yeah, I think in terms of XG, in terms of like the XG, I think they're currently third in the league or something like that.
Yeah. One last thing that they do like to do, and I'll put Trippier back here just to make it easier for us to see. What they do sometimes is they like to show for the ball a lot. So, for example, if Anthony Gordon is not seeing the ball an awful lot, he's gotten the permission from the coach to, I guess, sort of play a bit more free. So you could see Anthony Gordon playing in this left wing position. Trippier's got the ball around here, looking for a cross in the box. Genuinely, he could make a dart and run all the way over here and pick up the ball. And you could say that's the same thing for Almiron, same thing for Isak, same thing for Bruno. They are, I wouldn't say they're completely free-flowing team, but almost at all times there is someone that's not playing in their designated position, and they are a free roaming player, which is something that our defenders need to be able to pick up. And because of this, they do like to create situations where both wingers are on the same side of the pitch. They do this a lot late into the game when they are either chasing the game or trying to kill the game off. So I think the example that I saw was, I think it was Murphy and Almiron were both on the same side of the pitch, and basically they were causing havoc for whatever team it was. I can't remember now. But if this happens, our defenders are going to need to be switched on. Mitchell, as good as he is, he's not going to be able to stop two like Champions League. I wouldn't say Almiron's Champions League level winger, but like he's playing at a very high level now. So, you know, Newcastle really is another one of them games where we just have to be switched on all game.
Yeah, 100%. And one thing I noticed when I watched them as well, like they're happy to run inside as well. So even if like I think that's what you're saying about them being like an Aston Villa type team, like they can create from the middle. Like they're happy for like Isak to run in behind. They're happy for all of them to run behind because Gordon's quick, Almiron's quick, Isak's quick. So you know, they're happy to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like they've got. I felt like they had a lot of strings to their bow.
Yeah. So like I think for people that need a bit more of like what Dan's saying in an image is, let's say if Almiron's got the ball here, you can see Longstaff making this run through here, which would be in between the half space down here. So this is what I'm saying, where Longstaff will get himself into some good situations, but from here he won't convert, for example. But him making this run in between when everyone's taken up with their other men, always having a man free, is sort of what Dan's trying to say here.
Yeah, I mean, like from a bit further, like a bit more towards Newcastle's goal, but the principle's the same. Yeah.
Do I have? Let me show my screen again. I've got some images now. We're back on Photoshop.
Jeez.
Okay, so here's something from their 5-0 smashing of Brighton, might I have to add. From 5 years ago. So obviously these players are no longer at Bournemouth. Actually, is Ryan Fraser still at
I
Newcastle?
think he is. Yeah, I think. Oh, Newcastle. Oh, don't know actually.
Because he went there, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one.
But they. Oh no! Wait, I'm at the wrong place. Okay, so here, this is Davy Brooks on the ball, and this is Lewis. Let's say. Very similar to how Newcastle play now. So you've got the midfielders coming in. You've got Stanislas, who's ready to take the run. But what Davy Brooks does is he passes inside to Fraser. Remember, Fraser's a left winger, so he really should be out here. But he's playing in that more freer role, where he's picking up the ball and linking up play inside. The ball gets played into Fraser. Brooks then changes his run direction, leaving number 5 in absolutely no man's land. Baits the defender in and slots it in near post. So it's a very similar style of play, but it's just executed ever so slightly differently.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Here, with what we're saying about how they like to run, like even though they're taking shots, they still have people committing themselves forward. So this is Almiron's goal against Villa, where he absolutely twats it into the top bins.
It is a great goal.
But the fact that he's taking a shot here, but you still got Dan Burn going on the overlap. You still got Murphy going on the overlap. And if you go to the next image, even though the ball's in the net, look, he's still running. So he's still making the option, even if that ball doesn't actually go into the net. So they are a very, let's say, inspired team. I think they cover some of the most kilometers running in the whole league as well, don't they? I think that's one of their stats.
I think so, and I'll talk about that a bit more when I do how they defend.
Yeah. This one is more of a defend one, so I'll stop here. Or do you want me to touch on this quickly?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, while you're
there. Basically, their defenders, they like to drop off a lot. And Pope isn't having the best season of his life so far this season. So really, if Bruno's not standing here, if Bruno's standing here, this goal doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I could say that with almost 100% certainty.
Where is because I didn't actually watch this game back. Where is Bruno? Where is Bruno in that picture?
He's here. He's tried to commit himself forwards. And basically, he's committed himself forwards. Him and Isak are trying to chase the ball around, but Brighton are passing it, basically just passing it everywhere, and they can't get the ball. So I think what happened was the ball went from here to here. Bruno missed it when he tried to cut it out. Went into Gilmour. Gilmour then passed it straight to Ferguson. Ferguson takes a touch. So you see how much space he's got? He's got all this space with no one around him. He takes a touch and he's dribbling now. But look, the centre backs are still the same amount of space as they were the first time. No one's actually taken any incentive to press him. The only person that's done it is really Longstaff here. But even then, he's still too far away from him to even make any good of it. Oh. But Ferguson shoots from here.
Really?
Yeah, Ferguson.
Well, he scores.
Yes, he shoots from here and he scores from here.
Jesus.
And it's not even like a shot where he put power into it. He placed it into the bottom corner from here. That's why I'm saying that I don't think Pope is having a very good season at all so far this year.
I mean, I haven't seen that goal back, but I mean, well, according to the stats, Nick Pope is currently just under what he should have. He's currently just under his shot saving. By the looks of it.
And my final one here is actually on how Newcastle attack is average positions, which is a little thing that I found in SofaScore, which is very helpful.
Oh yeah, it's very good, yeah.
So I think that the main takeaway from this is that you can see Eddie Howe's style of play working in the average positions. So, for example, you can see the fullbacks very wide at all times, so that their average position is always pretty wide. Isaac likes to combine with wingers, so he likes to combine with, I guess, the person who's playing better on the day, really. So some days he's over here with Gordon, and other days over here with Almiron, but whatever it is, he's always pretty far forwards. But I think the most important one here is that midfield. They are always very close to each other, and they do like one-touch passing. So the more they're bundled together, they can press together, which is something that I know you're going to talk about. They press together, they pass together, and when they attack, they all attack together as well. So,
yeah, no, 100%. That was something I noticed as well.
Into the comments, Niall says, "Big up,
Niall."
Now, anything on the attack that you want to add to that, mate?
No, not really. I think that's pretty much what I thought as well. The midfield like to stay together. They're very good with each other as well. I think that pretty much was spot on, hit the nail on the head. So I'll talk about the defense now. So
sorry, mate.
I was saying that's right. Look, you got to always have the intro to the next segment. You can't not. It's too good. Right. So right. Let's talk about how they can defend. So I'm not going to lie. I found Newcastle quite a strange team to watch, in the sense of because I don't know about you guys, but normally you would kind of think, okay, how do they press, like when Palace have got the ball here, for example, and then I don't know, when Palace have got the ball over here, how do they form that block and stuff like that, or do they not? Are they more of a mid-block kind of team? And I feel like Newcastle, for me anyway, judging on the games I've watched this season, I decided to watch some of the games against West Ham, Burnley, and Brentford. Not all the game, just parts of it. And this is kind of what I got from it. I feel like they do most of their defending from their press. And I think that is one of the main mechanisms, without going too much into like how it helps them attack. How it helps them defend is massive. So let's just put our players out. Let's say how I think they might kind of be. Something like that. I'll just leave it like that. So let's say Sam Johnson's got the ball. Their press is crazy. Like they go man to man. Like where they literally go man to man. So well, they don't entirely go man to man. That is a bit of not an exaggeration, but that isn't entirely correct, because their aim isn't necessarily to win the ball in this area in Palace's defensive third. Their objective isn't necessarily to do that. What they're going to try and do is basically have it so Palace either lose the ball or just pump it long, and then then that's an easy win for their defenders, especially when our attacker is Jean-Philippe Mateta. So
hero, let me add,
against Plymouth. He's decent, but I mean, no, very few strikers in the world are going to be able to deal with, just humping it long to there and then them having to chase it. Like, very few strikers get there, and I feel like that is something that's going to happen quite a lot in this game. Mm-hmm. So let's say Sam Johnson does have the ball. If he pass it to Gay, JC, I can't remember exactly what the words you said about Newcastle, but they are incredibly tenacious. They're incredibly forward.
They're good runners.
They're good runners. Like Gordon's going to run all day long. Almiron's going to run all day long. Isak is also happy to run. Bruno will run. Anderson, Longstaff, they're all happy to run all day long.
Even Dan Burn,
exactly.
He's always on the move as well.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say, I don't know. I'm again, another thing as well with Eddie Howe, he might tweak how they press slightly depending on the team that they're playing. So this isn't an all size fits all, but this is how I think he'll do against Palace. So let's say, I don't know, and let's say Gay gets the ball, gets past the ball. That immediately Isak's gonna try and run there, and they're gonna stick another man on here so that if Gay then pass it to Sheikh Doucouré, Anderson is immediately going to be there, just hassling, and say he gets the ball, he can pass it to he can try and pass it to Klein, but then Anthony Gordon will chase him down. Gordon is really quick as well. It surprised me actually how quick he was. So he's going to make that ground very quickly. Same with Almiron as well. He's quick. But say pass it to Will Hughes, Sean Longstaff's going to be there. Now, obviously, I haven't finished it, but it wouldn't surprise me if, say he's then passing it to Tyre Mitchell. Okay, then Almiron's going to then cover that. Do you know what I mean? They're going to chase that ball down so quickly, and it wouldn't surprise me if they actually allow the ball to come to, because Anderson, Mitchell, maybe not so much, but certainly Anderson, Gay, and Johnston, they're all able to pick out a pass in pretty much most situations.
Well, we saw it against Italy for England.
Well,
Pickford properly stitched up Mark, but he still put through an amazing ball for Kane to send score.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then Mitchell's decent. Klein, I feel like his confidence probably a bit down a bit, so it wouldn't surprise me if they maybe even, I don't know, Anderson comes this side of Sheikh Doucouré, but then they're having it so that I realised it was the wrong way around. My bad. So I don't know, Anderson's got the ball. They're going to try and I think they'll force it to Klein, and then Klein will be forced to hit it long. And then once you hit it long, I mean,
the ball's gone if you hit it the second you hit it long.
Yeah, exactly. And it will be a rushed one as well. It won't be like, say, an Anderson pinging that pass straight across over there. It will be a rushed, effectively a clearance, really. And then they're just going to start and they're going to win the ball again. And this is something that goes into the midfield as well, as you alluded to. Say, I don't know, let's say we have pushed up a bit. Let's say Mark Gay's there. And our players are a bit more advanced, let's just say, for now. Again, the same thing. They're gonna have that height. They're gonna have that intense press. So let's say pass it to Jordan Knight. It wouldn't surprise me if within a few seconds the players are covered and there's 3 or 4 players around them immediately. That's the kind of level that we're talking about here. And yeah, I don't know what their average of their kilometers covered is, but if they're not top, I'll be shocked. that's how intense this press is. And I think it's their main way of attacking. Obviously, if they win the ball up here, then, that's great. They've got a transition immediately there, good counter-attack. But I think it's their main mechanism to defend. But as JC alluded to, when you do kind of get, I don't know, here, I didn't see anything in terms of like a low block that I thought was like, okay, that's interesting or anything like that. It was just it just seemed like a pretty standard kind of block. Isaac doesn't really tend to do anything in terms of the defending at this point. I don't think. But one thing I did notice is that I think their right hand side, our left hand side, is a little bit vulnerable. If I was to pick a hole somewhere, I mean, don't get me wrong, like it's still good, but I think
I'd say weak against long shots. That's the one that I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I mean in terms of like being able to play the ball around. Actually, I'll tell you what. Let me show you the examples because I think that'll make more sense.
Well, why you get those up? I think one thing that I haven't seen is that if we do play Edouard and Mateta, I feel like if we play a bit more, let's say, brave, they haven't had to come up against the two up front so far this season. And I don't think that there's anyone really in the Premier League now playing a two up front. So it will be a bit of I wouldn't say it'll be a surprise to them, but it'll be something that they haven't dealt with yet before in the league.
Yeah.
And granted, even though Mateta is dreadful, he's still 6'3", and he's still that with Benteke when he was useless. Even though he's useless, you still have to use two men to mark him because of how big he is.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm hoping these examples will hopefully make sense. And I agree. I think it'll be an interesting scenario for them to see how they deal with it. Because like I said, after you kind of get past their press, for me, I didn't see anything particularly stand out that I thought, oh, that's a really good way to defend or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But so these were some chances. Normally what I do is I go onto FB Ref. I see what their I look at the individual shots and see what the XGs were. So I tend to look at anything with an XG more than 0.1. So a 10% chance of scoring, theoretically, compared to old data. So this was the first one. Now, this is against Sheffield United. I purposely decided not to pick ones from, say, Man City, the Man City game, the Liverpool game, the Brighton game, because, like, we don't have the players for that, let's be honest, especially at the moment. So I was surprised actually. Sheffield United carved out some decent chances. This was still 0-0 as well, so it wasn't like it was 5-0 done and dusted or anything like that. This was still at 0-0, very within the first 15 minutes. So his first chance. So as you can see, the ball's here. Effectively, what you're going to see is this player here. I can't remember who it is. Run there. That's all you're going to see. Nothing crazy. Nothing mad. So as you can see, this player passes the ball into here. They receive the ball. There is a little bit of passing around between those two very, very briefly. But effectively, what you get is that then this ball goes over the top as this player runs. And then as soon as this player gets the ball, so they've received the ball, I think they might have taken one touch by this point to slow it down a little bit. But they haven't really done anything crazy. Can you see how open Luke Thomas is? I think that's Luke Thomas at the back there. Now, this is something I did notice. I feel like Kieran Trippier, I don't know if it's something defensively, because I guess that line does kind of make sense, I suppose. But he's really far over there. I don't know if it's because he's covering, I don't know who was playing in this game, but covering a defender, I don't know. But as you can see, there's no one there. And Miguel Almiron is like nowhere near that player. And like you said about how they all are so compact together in the midfield, well, you can see right there, 5 players literally right there. And I think that's Bruno. I think that's Longstaff, and one of these is one of the other midfielders who I can't remember. But point is, they're not covering.
They're all there.
Yeah, and again, this was Sheffield United. This isn't Man City or anyone like that. It's Sheffield United. No disrespect to them, but they're probably going to get relegated. Let's be honest. And they've managed, and then they carved out a decent opportunity. Same thing again. So where's the ball? So the ball's there. This player then passes the ball there again into that space. How exactly this opportunity came about, I can't remember. I think it was a bit of a lucky deflection, actually. I think Dan Burn passed the ball there and it came off Anthony Gordon. So it did catch him a little bit off guard. But even still, again, that space there is there. Mm-hmm. And again, back post, not being covered by Trippier. I don't know who that is. But
I think that's Bruno and Longstaff in there.
Yeah, well, oh yeah. And yeah, no Almiron in that picture either, or whoever their right winger was that day. So that's something I think is a problem for them. I think defending the back post is something that we could look into. And to be honest with you, that was something that there was a bit of wing play, and then at this point they cross it in. But yeah, the back post again, not covered. And this was something that we saw in Aston Villa's goal against them. Again, this was at 1-1. Whoops, sorry, apologies, that wasn't meant to happen. Again, this was at 1-1, so it wasn't like, they were 5-1 up, so we're like, oh, whatever. But as you can see here, this player has the ball. Look at this player here. Again, space, because these players aren't covering. All it took was one ping over the top like that. Don't get me wrong, it was a good pass, but I don't think it's a pass that Sheikh Doucouré couldn't play, or Anderson, or Gay, or even Will Hughes, to be honest. I think they can play that pass. And like you said about them backing off, they gave this player, it was a good, this player went from there to there, from when they received the ball here to there now. It was a good few seconds, and they didn't really try to win the ball.
Even at that point, they're not really running towards the player, are they? They're trying to screen the cross off. They're not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. There's no real closing down. I mean, I know this was the first game of the season, so you could argue maybe it's changed. And to be fair, they did get a bit unlucky because it deflected off whoever that is, and then it went to here, and then again, though, I think you look at the defending here, because this is Diaby scored, so the ball is received.
What's Joe Linton doing in the situation? He should be right side.
Well, yeah, exactly. So that's another thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Defensively, they are good, but there wasn't anything I thought I was like, whoa, this is an impenetrable defense or anything like that. So that was something that I thought we could do, and I do have against West Ham as well, which
while you get that up, I found the running stats. I couldn't find them for this season, but I found them for last season.
Yeah,
Newcastle were 4th in the league with furthest distance covered over the whole season.
Yeah,
with 1,644 kilometers.
Whew.
And bear in mind that the top is 1,680, so it's only a 40 kilometers difference between the top and 4th. If I could give you a guess of who got the bottom for distance covered last season,
it was Palace.
Yes, we have 1,320, so we covered a whole 400 kilometers less than Newcastle.
Jesus, I mean, to be honest, I've seen the way we played. That don't surprise me.
No, not at all.
But this was another thing, and I think that again the half space is vulnerable. So this was West Ham's goal. Classic West Ham, hit it long to Mikel Antonio.
It's not West Ham. It's West Ham.
West Ham, the Essex boys. But literally all they've done is kick it long. Antonio's he doesn't really control the ball. He flicks it on and runs there. It's well done, to be fair. It is well done. But this is what I mean. I think Trippier again, I feel like between him and Lascelles, because if Botman plays, maybe it's a different story, but I do think Lascelles isn't quite on the same level as them two. And I think the relationship between them, I feel like could be exploited in the same way some of our some teams against us like to exploit the gap between Anderson and Ward because neither of them are particularly quick. And I think it's the same thing here, where with these two. And I think if we can get into a position where maybe Trippier is a bit further up the pitch and Lascelles is having to come a bit wider, because this is what they do like to do as well. Like they like to have those three in the build up. So if you have those, if you kind of catch Trippier up there, if you pull Lascelles out, then I think that's something that could be exploited. And I mean, I do know, don't get me wrong, Antonio is very good at what he does, but I don't see why Jordan Ayew couldn't do the same, or why Mateta couldn't do the same. Maybe Jordan Ayew more so, but yeah.
Well, Ayew done it against Man United, didn't he, and scored?
Well, yeah, exactly. So, so we got players who are capable, more than capable of doing that. And all he did was then lay the ball back to, I don't know who that is, I think that's Paquetá. And then all he's going to do is literally ping it over the top as this player's running. This player's going to meet that ball. Oh, where have we seen this situation before? And then in behind, it was a Nick Pope. It was a bit of a Nick Pope error because he comes out in no man's land. I can't remember who this is, but they touch it down.
I think that's Emerson.
Emerson, he touches it. It goes past Pope. It was a bit of Pope's fault. But even still, even if Pope is over here, that's still a good chance. I mean, look at these players who are also running in. I think that's a good opportunity, even if Pope doesn't mess it up. So, and then what they do is he runs past him, he then crosses it in, and it's actually this player who scores.
Souček.
I think it's Souček, yeah. Or is that Souček down there? I don't know, but Souček scores by running into the box. So, yeah, so that's how I think they defend. So just to summarise what I've said, I think they tend to defend more on the front foot. They like to force teams to make rash long passes. They win the ball pretty comfortably, but then once you kind of bypass that, I do think they are a bit vulnerable on the wings. You can get in behind without doing anything too crazy, and they do like to back off a bit. So that could be an exploit that we do.
You can definitely get in behind against them.
Yeah,
but I would hazard a guess that I'd say maybe long passing isn't the way when kicking out to the right wing, because I think that just because of how huge Dan Burn is, no matter how good that pass is, he's just going to get his head on it before the ball lands.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's another point as well that kind of goes in with their defense and partially their attack as well. They're very good at they're very physical. Like they're the kind of team that will push you, they'll shove you, they'll, I don't literally mean that they'll spit on you, but take that metaphorically. They will do whatever they can to try and throw you off a bit. Like, I actually watched their second goal against West Ham, and Isaac actually just pushes ahead, and I was surprised that it stood, to be honest. But either way, they're that kind of team. Like they're very good at the dark arts, as they say, and they do. And because of that, they do win a lot of fouls. So that's another part of their defensive play, is that, if they've won 102 fouls. So that's obviously that's a lot. That's the fourth most in the Premier League. And some, not all of them, but some of them will be ones that will relieve pressure. Some of them will be ones that it wins them the ball in midfield, and some will be ones where it maybe gives them an opportunity to put the ball into the box. So they are very good at those kind of things as well.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing that we just haven't mentioned yet at all is, after all of what's happened, do you think Tonali's going to play?
To be honest, I don't know whether he would have anyway. Even if the betting thing wasn't a thing, I'm not too sure, because when I looked in the last couple of games, he seemed like he got left out, but I don't know.
I'm unsure if whatever he done in Italy transfers over to England. I'm sure it would, but yeah. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, because I'm fairly certain the Ivan Toney stuff, that all happened in England, and Well, I'm sure it's an FA ban, not like not a FIFA ban or a UEFA ban or anything. Like it's not. Well, I mean, I know those two don't have jurisdiction there, but yeah, I don't know. But
But
either way, though, even if
knowing
he
the
doesn't
Palace
play,
way, knowing the
yeah.
Palace way is that he'll play, he'll score, and then he'll get banned.
Yeah, probably. I mean, to be honest, even if he doesn't play, they've still got other midfielders who can play and who are
Oh, of
also
course.
still very solid. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not even 100% sure he would have started anyway, to be honest. But you know,
a few stats for you, Dan, before we round out. So this one is purely the fact of just proving what we said about them being wasteful. They have 1.8 big chances missed per 90. Which is a lot.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot.
That is a lot.
14.5 shots per 90. 6.5 on target. 5 off target. So
yeah,
they, as we said earlier, they get into some good situations, but they're just not converting at all. At all.
Definitely. I think they have had a couple screamers, but like you say, like they do miss a lot, and especially Isaac as well. Like his first striker, his shot conversion, he's excellent at like holding the ball up, running with the ball, linking with play, but in terms of his striking, like he doesn't seem to. He's not that clinical finisher.
No. Oh yeah, 100%. What was the last one? So there is opportunities for us to score goals because we've got 7 clean sheets. How many clean sheets so far this season? 5, right? Or 4?
4, I think.
What? Because they've got 3, so they've got less than us.
Well, I'm fairly sure Sam Johnson's kept 4 clean sheets. I think.
Yeah, so 4. So we've got 4 clean sheets and they've got 3. So they do concede more goals than us, though. To be fair, so maybe if we can, I guess, get lucky. Obviously, there's always a sense of or a need for luck in football. And I'd say we've been a bit out of luck lately with how things have been going for us, like what happened at Villa, for example. Just things not going our way. So maybe we could get lucky this time. Who knows?
Perhaps.
Dexter here says, is Joe Willock still at Newcastle? He is, but he's injured right now. I think that there's only one thing left to talk about today, unless there's anything else that you want to talk about, mate.
Nope.
Score predictions.
I thought about this earlier, and I'm going to stick to it. I think Newcastle will win 2-0. I feel like our last couple of visits,
we got lucky.
Yeah, so I feel like it's time for them to beat us. To be honest.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm copying you, but I was going to say the exact same thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Nicky, don't you dare think I'm copying him. You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna VAR check me.
So we can reverse Uno.
Yeah.
Slander, defamation.
I don't have an Uno card. I might need to walk around with an Uno card from now on. Dexter here says, careful you don't give Nicky any ideas again. And Chairman says, so it's a 0-0 then. If it's a 0-0, I'm taking it.
Oh, 100%. If that's a 0-0, that's
oh, that is amazing. We bust case if we got a 0-0 out of this.
I'll take a point all day long out of this game. Away at St James's Park, a point with all the injuries we got. I'm taking. Yeah.
Bear in mind, they are only 1 position above us. They're only 1 point ahead of us so far this season. We've got 12 points, they've got 13.
Saying that, I looked at their fixtures. I feel like they've had quite a hard start. Like they've played Liverpool. Well, they lost to Liverpool, Brighton, Newcastle City. They've also played Villa. They've also played who they play? They play West Ham as well. I mean, they have played 2 of the promoted sides, but outside of that, they've had some hard
They
games.
played Liverpool, Brighton, Brentford, Sheffield, City, Burnley, West Ham. So it's not the hardest, but it's also not the easiest. Slightly concerned that Arsenal was part of that team that conceded to Sam. Anderson wasn't to blame at all for that.
To be fair, it was from a corner, and he wasn't anywhere near where the ball went. To be fair.
Also, I'd say just be happy for San Marino, man. That was incredible.
Yeah, the San Marino fan account.
The Twitter account.
That was absolute gold.
The Twitter account. The amount of comments I saw underneath that. People saying, "I always like San Marino."
How can you not like San Marino?
Yeah, exactly. The kit's nice as well.
Well, I might have to get it.
You might have to then, mate. But
add it to the Zamalek.
Dexter here saying, "Yeah, big up San Marino, of course." But yeah, guys. Other than that, I think that's it for TACT-EAGLE today. Please tune in to the match preview, which will be tomorrow. I'm not sure what the time is, but stay tuned. On Friday, there will be Roy Hodgson's presser.
That'll be interesting.
And it'll be interesting, definitely. And on the Saturday, I will be forcing myself up to Newcastle to go and watch this game and praying that I don't waste my whole day and a lot of money on train tickets as well.
I did have a quick look at how much that train that you're getting on is now. There's no standard tickets left anymore, so it's only first class, and it was like 240 quid, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, not for me.
You know what? I spoke to a few guys, and they're actually flying up there. They said it's cheaper to fly than to get the train.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I guess that makes sense. I suppose, yeah.
But I'm sure it will take longer, though, no? Like going through passport control twice and all that stuff. It's pretty longer.
Don't think you go through passport
because the train's only 3.5 4 hours. I'm sure that the flight is an hour.
Well, you don't go through passport because it's a domestic flight.
Oh, okay.
So you don't I think they check bags and that, but obviously if you haven't got anything, I think do you know what I mean? That don't take long. Okay. Yeah, they don't do passport. Obviously when you get off, you don't have to get your passport stamped or anything like that. So it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long it takes, to be fair, but I'm just going to have a look out of curiosity.
But the thing is, the train station's literally a 10-minute walk away from the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas I don't know where the airport is.
So you have to go to, looks like, yeah, Heathrow, Stansted. I mean, right now they're well expensive, but yeah. But I mean, if you did it, let's say you did it, I don't know, in January, let's say, just out of curiosity. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it does say from Heathrow to Newcastle, it's 1 hour 20-minute flight, £47.
I guess that's what I'm doing next season then if I want to go again. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys learned something today, and me and Dan enjoy making these ones. So, as always, up the palace. Eagles!